Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to ask you if you could take a moment to head over to my channel sponsor, Dubby, at Dubby.GG. They have a wide assortment of different energy drink powders that you can put in your water if you'd like to avoid soda and high levels of sugar. You can use the code the G.I.G for 10% off of your entire order, and it would be helpful to the channel. Thank you very much. Hey there, folks. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and you see the title. You see what I'm going to be talking about. So, here's the thing, and the reason this is even being brought up is just because I've seen rather odd-looking questions appear on my timeline on various social media fronts. And then I look at it, and I'm like, I don't believe this is the case, but there are two very strong camps in this. There's the, oh man, Astrobot's so good, Nintendo fans gonna be mad, they're gonna be ticked off. And then there's the camp of, yo, don't make me have to go purchase your company's game, your platform's game as a Nintendo fan, because I will, and then I'll show off about it. So, and I'm sitting here like, I don't know where the idea that people who are fans of Nintendo would be pissed off that Sony has a good platformer released. Hell, I have a whole discussion dedicated to the idea of Sony swinging the pendulum the other direction so that they can do better in the long term, and it's going to hit them harder up front. I have a whole discussion dedicated to that idea, and Astrobot, if anything, proves that that discussion was correct. And I think that honestly, Sony needs to be able to do this. They need to be able to have smaller teams work on games that aren't as expensive to produce to put out. Everybody's like, well, the games are costing $70, so of course they have to do this, and this in order to justify the $70. No. You want to know why $70 became a thing? Because games were too cheap based on how much it costs them to produce them. That's why. The base level of games was too cheap. That's why we keep getting deluxe editions, special editions, and all this stuff that doesn't have anything more than added extra stuff from the code in the game that was just hacked off for different editions. So, Sony getting Astrobot is not something that's going to piss me off as a Nintendo fan. I seen the clips, man. That game looks fun. It looks good. Astrobot could use some more maneuverability, some more techniques and moves. But I mean, this is like what, the second outing for the character, and the first one was in VR. So technically, this is the first outing for the character for the mass audience appeal. So I for one, am like, yeah, cool. I want to see more of this from you, Sony. I want to see more of this. I want to see you do more of this. Because that would be cool. If you did more of this, you'd have more money. If you did more of this, more games by smaller teams that maybe take a little bit longer to produce, but you can build your consistency from it. That, I believe, is the way they need to go. Not, oh man, well, games are $70, so they gotta spend a whole lot of money to justify that $70 to us. No, they don't. That's been the problem. People wonder why so many studios are dying, or why after one game a team can be tanked and shut down. Guess what? It's because they're putting too much money into building and developing the games for stuff that people don't even care about in general. You have more stuff where people are working on games for a for a smaller budget, but a more focused team that has time to work together, get to know each other, you will have better results. Putting together or getting a new team to build this massive game and massive world is never going to be a good idea, because one, the inexperiences of the teams working together isn't going to help you anything. You can have a team of 50 industry veterans working together. If they have never worked together before, you are more than likely going to get a subpar product for the level of experience that you have together. That's just going to be the case. You're going to have to go through some growing pains. No matter what team it is, they're going to have to go through some growing pains. Yeah, you can mitigate this by potentially getting people who have worked together before. But if not everyone is familiar with how everyone else works, there's not going to be a whole lot of cohesion. Which just means that you're not going to get as good or as polished of a product as you can get. We need more teams to be able to work together on smaller projects, make smaller games, make good small games that can be released at a steady flow. It doesn't have to be a game every month, but a game console manufacturer should be able to release at least 6 games a year. And they don't have to be back to back with each other. They don't even have to be every 2 months. But you should be able to release at least from your own teams 6 games in a year. Now, Nintendo's doing more than that, but you should be able to at least do 6 games from your company in a year. And they don't all have to be big titles. I mean, let me take that back. You should be able to reasonably release like 2 big titles in a year and 6 smaller titles. So 8 in general. You should be able to release about 8 titles in a year, because we've got the technology to allow it to be sustainable to do it. You just have to work better. You have to work and plan better at it. Sony has the IP for this type of setup. They just haven't been using them, which is ridiculous. They have the IP for this. I would love to see another Mark of Kree or Rise of Kosai game. I would love to see another Sly game that doesn't have an over-bloated budget. Love to see another Jak and Daxter. They have it. They have the stuff needed, but they don't do it. They have everything in their hands. Is Siphon Filter Sony? I think it is. I would love to see another Siphon Filter. Like, they have teams for this stuff. Once they got hooked on the idea of show don't tell. Oh no, tell don't show. I mean, not show don't tell. Tell don't show. They started losing money. Oh, I'm going to show you this really good looking stuff. I'm going to show you these nice cinematics. I'm going to show you these cutscenes. Or I'm going to tell you about these. God, you show through the action. You tell you. I mixed them up. you got what I said. You got my point. They're trying to get everybody convinced on the idea that these over bloated budget games are the best thing for the industry, which was a ridiculously moronic move. I don't know who decided that was a good idea. And I think part of the reason is because we have people who are investors now in gaming, but they don't know the medium very well. Now, that's more than likely going to change, because we're going to end up with new generations of investors, but that's going to be a slow burn. for that to happen. And again, if Sony does the pendulum shift, then they'll be able to do it. They get that pendulum to swing back in the other direction. And they are successful at doing that. Again, through some growing pains. I mean, look at Concord. That was a hit in the face before they got hit in the gut real hard with Concord before they released Astrobot and scored a really good uppercut. And all they need to do is have smaller teams work on games like this. If anything for me as a Nintendo fan to be mad at when it comes down to Astrobot is if that game does not sell well. Firstly, the game is highly rated. And I know people love to tote and brag about their highly rated games. Hell, I do it myself. Because I like when people recognize the stuff that I like is good. But if this game does not sell well on the PS5, I will be pissed at Sony fans. Y'all want to brag about how good the game is rated? Go buy it. Go buy it and play it. Go show it off. Because if you don't do that and you just want to brag about how critically rated the game is, you ain't got no room to talk. Because we've seen games be critically rated very well that have tanked. And I mean good games that have just tanked. Because nobody bought them. Everybody was talking about how good they were, but nobody bought them. So, Sony fans, this game better reach at least 2.5 million. It better reach at least 2.5 million sales. I mean, y'all already got some help from the Nintendo fans because I've seen several posts about how they got the game and how much they love it. So you already got the help from the Nintendo fans. So y'all better go ahead and out there and purchase this game and show it off and talk about it as much as the Nintendo fans are. You better go buy it. Y'all want to brag about it? Go buy it. Don't brag about it and then not buy it. Or not attempt to buy it. Go buy it. Go get it while it's new so that Sony can see, yo, hey, we need to make more of this. We need to do more of this. That's going to be the deciding factor. If y'all start supporting this stuff, then Sony will do it. If you don't support it, you're going to go back into having a bunch of The Last of Us. That's on y'all. That's the whole thing. That would be the only thing I would be upset about in this whole discussion. That would be the only thing I would personally be upset about. That y'all had a chance to get Sony to see, hey, yo, don't spend all this ridiculous money on all this stuff that we don't care about. Put the effort in the stuff that we actually like. That's what I want to see. Screw better hardware, because better hardware ain't going to do nothing without better talent. If you ain't got better talent, better hardware is meaningless. That's like, in RPG terms, that's like giving a level 100 sword to a level 5 knight. He ain't going to be able to use it. He'll attempt to hold it. He'll attempt to look pretty with it. He'll probably swing and get a couple hits. But he ain't gonna be able to use it because he ain't got the experience. So that's on y'all. That's on Sony's fan base to go ahead and make the purchase. Again, I've already seen a bunch of Nintendo fans, and I mean people who are staunch Nintendo fans, purchase this game, play it, and talk about how much they love it. So, Sony fans, Sony camp, y'all need to get behind this. Y'all need to get behind this. Need to inspire Sony to go ahead and start making more games like Astrobot. Not necessarily more Astrobot, even though, yes, I would hope that there would be more of it. But games that don't require the mass waste of resources. You know, no game company should do more than 3-4 big budget titles in a year. Because one, if you're going to do a big budget title like that, that means it's going to be something that's going to, it should be something that takes up a lot of time. You don't need a bunch of games like that. You need those to be the ones that are spread out, more sparse. You want those to be the sparse things. You want your base to be a bunch of smaller titles that, hey, if it's successful, awesome. If it's not, you can survive. That's what Nintendo's been doing for forever. That was what game companies were doing back in the 90s before the 2000s. So, can we get back to that? Can we get Sony to do that? And then maybe Microsoft to be like, oh, so that's how it works. Let's do that. Maybe. Just maybe. So no, as a Nintendo fan, I would not be mad. I am not mad at the existence of Astrobot. I love the existence of Astrobot. As a Nintendo fan, I would be mad at the Sony fan base if they don't go support this game. That's what I would be mad about. That's what would upset me. That's what would piss me off. Because y'all have the golden opportunity to get Sony to see, hey, we don't need to waste money on large scale games all of the time. We can put effort and time into smaller stuff and go ahead and put it out there and recoup our cost. We can make games that only require us to sell 200,000 units in order for us to call it a success and make a boatload of money off of it. We can make games that only require 500,000 sales to break even. Because off our brand name alone, we can almost guarantee 1 million. So, that's how you should be operating. Now let's see if it happens. So that's it for me. Thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games and peace out, everybody. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy, and I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. If you would be interested in supporting my efforts in content creation, please head on over to Amazon and look up The Game Idea Guy Presents Gaming Word Search, and you will find both Volume 1 and Volume 2 up for sale. Thank you very much once again, and I hope to be able to create more content for you in the future. Peace out.